Chapter 270. Flight Comprehension. Swoosh, 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 crimson fire blinked, and the crimson crow prodigies quickly split up and flew in all directions. Sanchi could not split up and could only choose to chase one of them. Even if he caught up, as long as it was not a one-hit kill, these guys could escape. You're willing to sacrifice your clansmen to cause me some trouble. Sanchi smiled nonchalantly and chased after the Crimson Crow Crown Prince. He still had 3 days to chase after these birds, practice divine teleportation footwork, and obtain points. He was quite satisfied. The two of them, one chasing and the other escaping, disappeared in the blink of an eye. The Crimson Crow Crown Prince was the fastest. Even Sanchi, who was using divine teleportation footwork with all his might, was pulled further and further away. How? I thought your divine teleportation footwork was powerful, but it seems like it's only so-so. Sensing Sanchi's situation, the Crimson Crow Crown Prince heaved a sigh of relief and said proudly, "The sky is my home ground. You, a two-legged beast, can forget about catching up to me." In the eyes of the demons, humans were two-legged beasts. They were born unable to fly or swim, and their bodies were very ordinary. If they were not sinister and cunning, it was impossible for them to dominate this world. Sanchi did not retaliate. The other party was telling the truth. Instead of retaliating, he might as well focus on comprehending divine teleportation footwork. He believed that this incomplete divine power should not be weak. Further control of it would not be weaker than the demon bird's innate flying ability. His powerful comprehension allowed him to enter a spiritual state as he advanced. The surrounding wind blew and space fluctuated. Everything became especially clear in this state. Space, wind. Sensing the changes in the various energies around him as he moved forward, Sanchi fell into deep thought. If I use divine teleportation footwork, I can borrow the power of space. However, flying in this world not only need the power of space, but also the power of wind. He looked at the Crimson Crow Crown Prince, who flew with the help of the power of wind and fire. The power of fire and the power of the wind were perfectly combined. The fire further promoted the flow of the wind, so this crow was very fast, like a comet. Apart from the wind, the surface tension from my own size also affects speed. Sanchi thought of some knowledge from his previous life. Flying was related to resistance. He could not help but think of the breeze sword control technique, and the sword technique left behind by the ancient sword saint. Unknowingly, all kinds of knowledge gathered together and kept colliding. Under the guidance of his comprehension, new knowledge was combined. Head sideways, reduce the drag. In this way, the area of resistance quickly decreased. Sanchi mobilized his sword chi at the same time and transformed himself into a sharp sword. The tip of the sword broke through the air and reduced the resistance. Amidst the sword hum, Sanchi's body conformed to fluid mechanics. At the same time, his feet were still moving. He then placed the power of space in another direction, making the power more concentrated. After adjusting his posture and reducing the resistance, he changed the direction of his strength. With a swoosh, Sanchi's speed increased greatly. He used the sword control technique, fluid mechanics knowledge, divine teleportation footwork, and so on in conjunction with each other, and his speed began to increase. The distance that was originally widened began to shorten. The Crimson Crow Crown Prince narrowed his eyes. Damn it, this guy still has methods to increase his speed while chasing. How did he do? The flames on its body lit up brightly. With a bang, the air exploded. Like a jet plane, it accelerated forward. A deafening sonic boom spread out, shattering the vegetation on the ground. Its speed far exceeded the sound, and one could only see a string of flames with the naked eye. Behind the aeroplane-like Crimson Crow Crown Prince, a longsword filled with flames chased relentlessly. Seeing the Crimson Crow Crown Prince's acceleration method, Sanchi could not help but think of the plane in his previous life. He also released the sun nomological power and condensed it before erupting. Boom! The tail of the sword beam exploded, and Sanchi's speed increased. His legs kept kicking lightly, and he was still using divine teleportation footwork as if he was swimming in the air. It's more than 1,000 meters per second. It's even faster than a supersonic plane in my previous life. At this speed, only a golden core body can withstand it. Sensing the pressure brought by the air, Sanchi could not help but sigh. In this world, through cultivation, One's body could be comparable to an airplane or a cannon. His body was really like a humanoid weapon now. His golden divine body emitted light to resist the friction and pressure brought about by the rapid flight. Without him doing anything, the friction in the surrounding air formed a special layer of high-temperature fire. I look like Superman. Song Shi flew recklessly, unaware that the Crimson Crow Crown Prince in front of him had already reached his limit. Heavens, the blood-robed old ghost can fly so fast. How many more abilities does this old ghost have? Why does it feel like has omnipotent? This speed is completely comparable to a nascent soul cultivator. The teleportation of an ordinary nascent soul cultivator is only so-so. The people who were secretly watching Song Shi and the Crimson Crow Crown Prince chase were all speechless. During this period of time, other than external forces such as Dharma treasures and talismans, cultivators focused on cultivating a few internal aspects. One was a body refinement warrior who focused on cultivating defense and had a powerful body. One was a sorcerer who recultivated nomological power and spells. He could use all kinds of spells at will and was flexible. The last category was existences that cultivated the spirit. They were good at illusions and spirit-type secret techniques. The three directions corresponded to essence, chi, and spirit. Those who could cultivate any one of them well were experts, but not many were as perfect as this blood-robed old ghost. He seemed to be good at everything. It was precisely because Song Shi's essence, energy, and spirit were all strong, and his foundation was even deeper. In this pursuit, not only did he quickly make up for the gap, but with the help of his powerful comprehension, Song Shi's speed became faster and faster. This obvious growth frightened the Crimson Crow Crown Prince. He could see the changes in Song Shi very clearly. In the beginning, it was difficult to catch up to him. Then, he quickly closed the gap. Now, he was actually starting to surpass him. What abnormal person! He doesn't look like a normal genius at all. I've never heard of him before, but I actually encountered him. How unlucky! For the first time, the Crimson Crow Crown Prince felt defeated. This human's growth speed was too terrifying. It was precisely this powerful growth that made him lose his fighting spirit. If all humans are like this, how can there be the dominance of our demon race? The Crimson Crow Crown Prince smiled bitterly in his heart. Ever since he became sensible, he felt that he had the bloodline of the Golden Crow and was much more noble than the two-legged beast. The two-legged beast only relied on numbers and external objects to dominate. In terms of individual ability, it was impossible to compare to them. The humans he encountered later were basically as he had thought. They were nothing, even if he did not reach the top on the Immortal Opportunity platform. He felt that it was because the Immortal Opportunity platform was secretly denying the demons. Blood-robed old ghost, it'll let you experience the secret skill of our Crimson Crow race. If you can still catch up, you win. The Crimson Crow Crown Prince was indignant and did not want to admit defeat. A rune that was like the sun lit up between his brows. Golden light flashed in his eyes, and his power began to burn. He suddenly turned into a beam of light and pulled away again. Song Shi thought for a moment and waved his fingers. He directly used the Heaven Talisman technique and drew a few special runes on his body. After augmenting them, his speed increased. As the runes he drew increased, his speed increased further. On the contrary, the power of the Crimson Crow Crown Prince's secret skill was greatly exhausted. It started to weaken after a moment of eruption, and if nothing went wrong, he would be caught. Blood-robed old ghost, you win. When Song Shi was less than 30 feet away from the Crimson Crow Crown Prince, the Crimson Crow Crown Prince said, "Your performance surprised me too much. I hope you can live a few more days here. When you go out, you will soon see how you die."